This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 3 of our series on Introduction to Ethical Hacking Techniques. In this episode, titled Common Vulnerabilities and Exploits, we're going to explore the most prevalent system vulnerabilities that hackers often target. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of these weaknesses and how they can be exploited. So let's dive in. Right now, somewhere in the world, a stranger is breaking into a company they've never seen without touching a single door or lock. No guns, no getaway car, just one tiny flaw in forgotten software, and a few clicks that turn a quiet office into $1 million crisis. Ethical hacking starts with a blunt truth. Most successful attacks don't rely on movie-style genius, just on the same boring mistakes repeated everywhere. Out-of-date systems, sloppy settings, risky default options, and rushed design choices quietly pile up until they form a staircase an attacker can climb. In this episode, we'll zoom in on those recurring weak points and the exploits built to abuse them. We'll look at how a single missed update can lead to automated ransomware, how a tiny web bug can leak logins at scale, and why a hurried admin change at 2 a.m. can open a hidden side door. Think of it like hiking a mountain. Each small misstep might seem harmless, but enough of them on the same narrow path can send the whole team over the edge. To understand common vulnerabilities, we'll separate the noise from the signals that really matter. Across thousands of incidents, the same 4 patterns keep surfacing: missing patches, bad configurations, insecure design, and people under pressure making fast choices. Each one shows up differently in the real world. A forgotten VPN box at a branch office. A cloud bucket left temporarily public. A legacy app that assumes nobody will ever try a weird input. A rushed approval of a suspicious email from the CEO just before a deadline. Our goal is to learn to spot these patterns early before attackers do. Let's zoom in on how those 4 patterns actually play out and why attackers love them. First, missing patches. When a vendor publishes a fix, they're also publishing a roadmap for attackers. Here's exactly where the weakness is. Exploit kits quickly bake in these public details so criminals can scan the internet for systems that never installed the update. That's how old news bugs keep generating fresh victims. Mandiant's finding that 60% of incidents traced back to patchable issues isn't about rare elite operations. It's about opportunists running industrial-scale scans and scripts. Second, configuration errors. These aren't coding mistakes. They're choices about how features are switched on, connected, and exposed. An exposed management interface, a forgotten default password, a cloud storage bucket set to public during testing and never flipped back. Each turns a harmless feature into an entry point. Attackers don't need to break crypto if they can just find the one service that trusts everybody by accident. Third, insecure design. Some systems are built so that when anything goes wrong, it fails open rather than closed. Maybe an app assumes user input will always be friendly, or a workflow grants broader access just to keep things simple. That convenience debt compounds over time. OWASP's finding that over 90% of tested web apps had XSS issues shows how design shortcuts in handling user input become a predictable hunting ground. Then there's the human layer. Phishing, bogus invoices, fake IT support calls. These blend technical detail with emotional pressure. The tech side might abuse built-in tools like PowerShell or remote desktop clients, so antivirus sees normal programs doing normal things, even while credentials are being harvested or data staged for exfiltration. Meanwhile, the target is focused on urgency, reputation, or fear of delaying a project. CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog is a kind of most wanted list for all of this. A live reminder that many high-impact intrusions reuse documented, fully understood weaknesses. For an ethical hacker, those entries are both a checklist and a training ground. Replicate them in a lab, learn how they're found, then flip perspectives and figure out how to spot and shut down the same patterns in the wild. An easy way to see these weaknesses is to trace one simple chain from harmless to critical. Start with a test database that a junior developer spins up for a sprint. It's supposed to be temporary, so nobody adds it to the inventory, and its default login stays unchanged. A few weeks later, logs show it quietly receiving copies of real customer data just for debugging. Nobody updates it, nobody patches it, and its IP is exposed to the internet because the firewall rule was cloned from a more trusted system. Now layer on an exploit. An automated scanner spots the exposed service, tries a list of factory credentials, and lands inside. From there, the attacker pivots, using the same credentials on an internal wiki, then on a CI/CD system, eventually reaching code repositories and deployment keys. What began as a disposable resource has turned into a bridge between public and private zones, giving an outsider tools to alter software releases or plant back doors that look like normal updates. Attack techniques evolve like shifting currents in a river. The rocks stay the same, but the flow finds new paths. As AI helps discover flaws faster and automate probing, the time window between a mistake and its exploitation keeps shrinking. That pushes defenders toward designs that assume compromise and limit blast radius by default. Over the long term, ethical hackers may spend less time finding single bugs and more time stress testing entire ecosystems of tools, people, and processes working together. In practice, this means learning to read systems the way an attacker does, tracing how a harmless feature today could chain into tomorrow's crisis. Like a river cutting new channels after a storm, small shifts in tools, teams, or regulations can open fresh paths. Your job isn't to fear every change, but to keep exploring where the water might flow next. Try this experiment. Pick one device on your home network, like a laptop, and intentionally leave one common vulnerability in place, such as an outdated browser or a weak Wi-Fi password, while you harden everything else. Update OS, enable MFA on key accounts, turn on the router's firewall, remove unused apps. For the next 48 hours, run a free network scanner like Nmap or Fing from another device, and compare how often that weak device shows up with open ports or warnings versus your hardened devices. Then, flip it. Patch the browser or strengthen the Wi-Fi password on that device, rescan, and note exactly what disappears from the scan results. You're not trying to get hacked. You're running a controlled before and after test to actually see how much noise a single common vulnerability creates on your own network. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!